Hi, I'm Mark McVeigh, a student here at Liberty University, and our assignment this week is to come up with a grant proposal for something we'd like to do in our area. What I came up with is in Spokane. I live in the Spokane area, and I grew up in the Spokane Valley, which really now is just a sprawling suburban area. But if you go back 100 years ago or even 50 years ago, it was some very distinct communities of Otis Orchards, Millwood, Yardley. Um, there's a Opportunity in Viradale. Those were all kind of different areas. Some were basically orchard areas. Some areas were more rail yard associated, but now it all kind of just runs together. And so my idea is I'd like to come up with basically a project, a crowd sourced project where we collect images of the Spokane Valley going back really from the 1970s all the way back to the 1890s when people were first settling there. And I think the idea, I got this idea. There's actually several. There's a Millwood site and a Spokane Valley history site that are actually on Facebook where you can track. People will post these old pictures. The only problem that you run into there is these are just managed by an individual, and if that person gets tired or passes away, or then all of a sudden that Facebook page really is no longer updated and tracked. And it's also there's not really a good way to look up images and things. So my idea is through the Spokane Valley, um, there's basically a Spokane Valley Heritage Museum in the old Opportunity Town Hall that I thought we could utilize for that. Now, I looked up organizations and I really came up with three target organizations. One is the Anovia Foundation in Spokane, and that's a foundation that does a lot of, they fund the arts, they fund education, they fund museums for just this sort of project. Another one is the Harriet Cheney Coles Foundation, and that's the Coles family is really the family that runs the newspaper in Spokane. They own a lot of real estate. They're a really well-known family, and they also have a very good track record of funding this sort of thing. The last one was the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is the one location. It looked like we had a lot of very Virginia-specific funds and or foundations and things, but the Institute for Museum and Library Services I thought was also a potential target for that. Because of what they've funded. They've funded a lot of Native American museums, and they've funded looked like some smaller hometown museums and things like that. Um, Laying out, it looks like I really looked at a couple of these, and it looks like first thing you have to do is explain why you're doing this. And what I want to lay out in the proposal is, well, we want to preserve the history of the Spokane Valley. It's going away. A lot of the houses have been torn down, and a lot of the storefronts are gone. Things. So we want to preserve history. We want it to be accessible to people. So that's where we need an online searchable database that's accessible to everybody. The Spokane Valley Heritage Museum has a small version of that, but it's very difficult to use, and it's definitely just built by whoever was locally there building it. And then it's educational. It's training kids. Hey, you're growing up in the Spokane Valley. What was this neighborhood like 50 years ago? What was this neighborhood like 100 years ago? Maybe what was this neighborhood like 150 years ago before there were any settlers here, when it was just wildlands or the Spokane tribe kind of controlled the area. And then you have to explain why do you need some funding. That's important too. And what I came up with there is one, there's basically we need money for a Facebook campaign to really crowdsource these photos. Then we need money, a little bit of money to provide some labor to catalog and break these images out and confirm that they're legitimate too, and things, if it seems suspicious. And then the last thing we need some funding for this also, to arrange for the storage and software for easy access and things like that, and also to make sure this is perpetual, so it doesn't just go away when we run out of a few dollars here and there. But thank you. That's my presentation on what I would recommend or what I would try to do for that. And I think actually I might try to do this in a the public history class, maybe continue with this project. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.